Thanks, guys. Good luck to you.
Thank you. This is from, I had this sent to me. No amount of money will ever be enough. With each move, each round of realignment, college sports is losing what made it special. And I'm sure if you're Iowa State or Baylor, TCU or Tech, if you're, I don't know, teams that are left out, you might feel that way. There's part of me that agrees with that, and there's part of me that, man, it is all fend for yourself and get whatever you can.
Well, and it's hard to come to the realization or figure. It's not even a realization. It's just hard to put a number. So Texas and Oklahoma we didn't really know how much money they can make. Just like we don't know how much Alabama or A&M or schools like that are big, gigantic schools with huge alumni bases that just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We really don't know. But when you're a small school, and you're always going to be a small school. You're never going to be big because that's not your mission to be big. And you're a private school, like you're TCU or Baylor, or you're someone. It's hard to say, okay, well, what's our number? What can we really get to? You just have to keep riding the wave until you get to it. As where if you're Texas, there's not a number. You just keep going until you hit some crazy number. I'm sure there is one.
Well, they were the number one. I know they've gone back and forth, haven't they, with A&M, back and forth about the budget, revenue, whatever, all that. Ohio State's in the mix or whoever. And now they're about to get an extra 10 or 15, 20, 25 or so million a year. And I get this back and forth. Do you guys, have you read this, that the Longhorn Network's not going away? That's there. I have a feeling there's something.
No. I don't know what's the latest is, but the latest I read was that Texas would say, okay, buy Longhorn Network. We'll fold it into the SEC network. It's all owned by ESPN anyways. And if that's a barrier that they have to mow over to get into SEC membership, then that's one that they would be willing to toss aside. That was my understanding. That's not from a Texas official, but that's just common sense that you wouldn't perhaps ruin a chance to join the SEC because of the Longhorn Network? Really?
Well,
that would be your hurdle?
They almost left the Big 12 because of that.
Okay, let's compare.
I'm just saying, I feel like there's still going to be some semblance of that Longhorn Network.
I don't think so. Think so. Because you're not above everybody else anymore if you do this. And I'm almost just wishing they would go ahead and just join so we can quit dancing around the if or when, because it all just seems inevitable at this point. And I know conference realignment's been crazy before. Chip Brown had, 5 schools going to the Pac-12 6 years ago, and that never happened. So, who knows what's actually going to happen. But, this one seems like, the pen's on the table, the contract's right there. All they need to do is take the top off and sign it. That's how inevitable this seems at this point. But, I would have to know the SEC's position on that, but they're the drivers, not Texas or Oklahoma. The SEC can have this fall through, and they're going to be perfectly A-okay. Nothing changes for them. And if anything, that might cause some other teams to go, hey, they don't want to go in anymore? All right, we'll do it. We don't have some stupid network that we're dragging around like baggage, so I don't think the Longhorn Network would be an issue at all.
573 on the text line. Texas and Oklahoma bring cash. This is a Missouri fan. They bring cash, a cultural fit in football. And the thought of beating them is exciting. But Texas is poison. That is worrisome.
I'm going to keep saying this. What I wonder is going to happen, because that's the case, is that Texas has a lot of baggage and they're used to running the show. So if they're used to running the show, what happens the first time that something doesn't go their way? Do they start trying to politic things together? And we've seen they're really good at turning two teams against each other and then stepping out of it.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
They're the ultimate politicians. Yeah. They are. They're the ultimate politicians.
Smoak, did you hear what Craig said about you? Craig, did you hear what Smokey said about you? All right, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, that's like the guy that goes into a bar, gets drunk, and starts a fight, passes out, and everybody else is beating the hell out of each other. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. In so many ways.
That's how they got their way. That's how they kept A&M out of the SEC twice before. That's how they kept the Big 12. That's how they got the Big 12 tearing each other apart the last time.
They can, and they do. And we could complain about it, but if it was your favorite program, I don't know. What I think is funny is I see Texas now. I see Oklahoma fans acting as if Texas is their BFF. Vice versa. Like, stop. Stop.
You have to right now.
Yeah, right now you do.
Now you have to.
Right.
Well, I mean, you're following the leader, so they must be your best friend. I mean, it seems like, it's right that Texas is the one getting the majority of the blame for this, or the one that appears to be the one leading the charge based on the fact that they're the only one that's really getting any arrows shot at them.
Well, and they're the one who released the statement.
Right. So, I mean, they seem to be in the driver's seat, and Oklahoma's in the passenger seat, basically. And that's why there was an article written last week. I forget who it was at this point. It was one of like the Andy Staples, Stuart Mandel types, and they were talking about how, from their standpoint, just a differing
Stuart Mandel.
Okay, Mandel, about how this doesn't make all that much sense for Oklahoma outside of the money. You're basically, holding hands with your arch rival to go cross this, line and go join this super conference, and it's great. But, like we talked about, those conference titles year after year after year are going to go away. But like Ralph said, it's more about who you're playing. You've played Iowa State, Baylor, TCU, Tech, all these teams. You've seen them for 10 plus years. So it would be more exciting to see LSU, Auburn, Alabama rolling in. And it is a lot more money. So it makes sense, but I would expect a program of Oklahoma's caliber to be a bit more in charge of this thing, and it does sort of just feel like they're kind of tagging along with Texas based on where most of the angst is going. Yeah. So, the Big 12, I'm not sure what conversations are happening behind closed doors today, but they're going to have to come up with a plan and in a hurry, because there is a lot of blood in the water right now, and there's a lot of sharks circling, and, there's a lot of conferences now that smell blood. So, Bob Bowlesby wasn't prepared for this, but he better be prepared for what happens next, because one way or the other, the Big 12 is going to have to make a move, either shut down entirely and just go your separate ways, or keep this thing charging along. And wouldn't that be the ultimate Texas and Oklahoma move? And I'm sure they thought about this of, hey, if we leave, we're never going to have to pay that buyout, because all those other schools are just going to fight each other and split up, and that'll be negated. So I'm sure they're banking on the fact the Big 12 won't be asking for that money that they owe
in
here
fact,
soon.
I believe I read a column, and it quoted somebody of significance in Big 12 history, that one of the things you got to be careful of is that some of what you hear of speculation could be planted.
Of course.
So that any of the 8 might panic or might say, oh my God, we're in trouble, whether it's Kansas or it's Tech or if it's Baylor or if it's Oklahoma State. And don't think that that's something that they're trying to contain in certain ways.
Yeah, like Craig mentioned it last week. It was like, all it's going to take is one, like, of the last 8. It's
I think, I don't know what the bylaws are, but I would think you'd have to lose 2 people. 2 more. If Texas and Oklahoma are gone, you're down to 8. You get down to 7 or 6, I think, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's got to be some sort of
so
a void
if
in
it's
the
one of the
contract.
last 8, so if West Virginia just, well, we got this offer from ACC, we're going to go because it's just the best for us. Or if it's...
That's if they get that offer.
If they get that offer. Or if Kansas and Iowa State just said, look, the Big Ten is, they want to go 16 now too, and they've already called and we've said yes. And then at that point, it's over. But the 8 have to stay together, and we'll see how long that can do it.
Ross Dellinger, SEC presidents have called a meeting for Thursday. Sources tell SI Now. Texas and OU took first step in joining the league today. Second step's applying for membership, which is expected but hasn't happened as of right now. And then the third step, so basically OU's taking the first step. The next step will be sometime today or tomorrow, sometime this week, applying for actual membership. And then the final step would be the SEC presidential vote. So there's a step to be taken before the SEC presidential vote, but like I just said at the very beginning, presidents have called a meeting for Thursday. So I would imagine that means most likely, I'm just assuming here, but that would mean that OU or Texas, I would think in the next 48 hours or so, probably apply for membership, and then by Thursday we could see this thing, become all but official.
In less than a week. Well, no, exactly a week. Yeah. That's
well, I mean, the plan was never to have all this out there last week.
No.
This is basically the plan. It's just that the plan got exposed.
It was supposed to be
several
today,
days earlier. Yeah.
That they informed the Big 12,
Exactly.
and then they vote, and boom, it's over. And the great friend of ours, Brent Zwerneman, was on with us on Friday, was the one that popped the story, and A&M's the one that leaked the story. He says no, but that's one of that's one of the things.
Yeah. All right. And on the text line, in regards from Tyler from Cedar Park, in regards to ESPN and their role in this move, any thought on the theory this is a bigger play by ESPN to take power from Fox and their Big 12 rights become worthless while they expand their control with the SEC network? Backdoor deal uncovering the media money loss payoff with ESPN. I mean, I've seen dirtier things happen in business. I
let's see here. I don't know which article it was. It was either Max Olson or it was John Wilner, who covers the Pac-12. That listen, there's two networks. It's Fox and it's ESPN, and it is a turf war. And ESPN, Fox has a lot of money, but ESPN is trying to get everything they can. It's part of business. That's just no different than anybody else, and they got a ton of money. So, yeah.
No, I asked Ralph Russo that question, or did I ask him that question?
Yeah, you kind of did.
Okay,
yeah.
So in so many ways we got to it, but yeah, I kind of side with him. I think there was probably some orchestration behind the scenes. That would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form if ESPN was helping drive this train, but I think it's more like what he said, maybe a little bit of both, maybe a little bit of, Texas and Oklahoma come to the table and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? We don't hate it. We actually think it's kind of great. Maybe wink, wink, nod, nod. You should pursue that. That's probably that kind of a deal rather than outright orchestrating it. But regardless, the TV networks, to your point, are certainly playing a massive role in this entire thing. And that's why when you see all this speculation, you don't see people going like town size or, like certain factors. It's always market, it's money, it's all those same things that fall in line with TV. It's TV rights, it's the money, it's those types of things. So absolutely, I believe that networks like ESPN are probably right in the thick of things, and maybe not exactly pulling the strings, but they're watching it happen and maybe giving a little direction here and there.
All right, 4:32 is the time. Paul, what's the latest on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
Apparently the Packers and Aaron Rodgers are close to an agreement that would bring him back for at least this year and make some concessions that would make it easier for him to leave after this year, and talk about the issues that he has with the franchise. So we might be seeing one last ride with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And it's interesting, there's a lot of quarterback news. Deshaun Watson decided that he couldn't withstand $50,000 a day when every day there's a new lawsuit against him. And, so he is reported to camp as well. And the Texans are now completely willing to trade him, but I don't know, how much value he has every day that, there's 10 different police complaints that his own lawyer had to cop to today.
And that came today. So the Texans say, we're willing to trade you. Deshaun Watson's going to show up for camp or shows up for camp, and then all of a sudden the police, that stuff's filed, right?
Yeah, the Deshaun Watson's thing
game.
Is so crazy.
Golly, yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers looks like he's going to be back home.
All right, from the 214 on the text line, what are you hearing about the Pac-12 affiliation with the Texas schools right now? Nothing, other than just speculation, other than who could be accepted there. I know that there's some that are more tier than others, and believe me, the fan bases will let you know. But right now, nothing concrete about anybody, anywhere, any conference of the 8 remaining teams other than what might make sense.
Yeah, the hot rumor, which is just all purely just speculation and people trying to guess what's going to happen, would be Tech and Oklahoma State to the Pac-12, and that's not anything based on anything. That's just based on people putting like geography together and who would seemingly fit in the best, but that's the one that a lot of people have grasped onto. But I've also seen Oklahoma State to the Big Ten or Oklahoma State here. I've seen every school everywhere pretty much for the most part. So yeah, nothing substantial to it other than just a lot of the same talk. And I was looking at the corner of my eye now, and you've been very busy, all the great people, these new listeners we've had. I saw one text just now, though, and I don't know what perspective this person must have, but there's no whining and crying going on here. We're literally talking about the same things everybody else is talking about. So I don't know if you're just trying to troll or if you're just not all that bright or what the case may be, but ain't nobody whining or crying around here. We're just talking about like everybody else.
We have gained so many new people, and fortunate in the last week since Wednesday. Since Wednesday afternoon, when it comes to what we do, what Hayden does, what Marquise does, or Armstrong, or Jack, or Emma, Deontay in studio with us as well, when it comes to getting us in front of you, and so many of you. Some of you think that, hey, screw Baylor or screw TCU and the Big 12 sucks. You might be right, but we're covering the story and looking at the different angles, including bringing in a writer from Iowa State tomorrow, Texas Tech, and then Wednesday, Oklahoma State, or Thursday, TCU.
Look,
that's what we do on this show, and if it's not enough for you, Go find another one.
We've done this. We've done this before.
Yeah,
I think all my stress was worn out 10 years ago. In all this, when
I think it was 11.
10, 11 years ago, like that was. Now I'm just. Here's what I learned from that. The first time it happened was we can freak out about everything and lament. And I remember sitting at George's and just talking with my friends, going, I don't know what's going to happen. And this jackass came up to me and was like absolutely just in my ear about some of the stuff. I didn't even know the guy. And I remember walking out of the car that night going, all right, that's the last time I'm going to worry about this. Like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and you have to react accordingly.
Yeah, to our new viewers, listeners, whatever, you probably don't know me very well. If you think I'm sitting here stressing out over a lot of stuff that I can't control or that we are, then you are out of your mind and you have no clue what you're talking about, because I'm not stressing at all, because there's nothing I can do about it. And even if I stressed over it, it doesn't change a single thing. So I'm, like I said, just on this ride with everybody else, and wherever it takes me or us or whatever, we'll find our spot there and do our thing there.
If there was something I could have done about it, you would have heard of me before last Wednesday.
No, that's a good point.
Exactly.
By the way, from 304 West Virginia, we've already traveled all over Hell's Half Acre. I say we go to the Pac-23. You bring the beer, I'll bring the shine. I'll meet you there. I love you.
West Virginia shine. I'm a little nervous about that, man.
304. Pit fan, great content. Thank you so much from the 410. From the state of Michigan, Terrence Macklin. Jeff from Oklahoma. Now you can send your kid to college and work at the same place. I'm not sure what the hell that means. Let's see here. The ACC has Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, and Miami. Can't wait to see the Aggie Tears. Hey, I'm from L.A. Continue. Clemson will move to the SEC along with Florida State. Creates new football league outside of the NCAA. After merging with the ACC, make much more money that way. I've seen that.
There was a rumor on Friday about Ohio State and Michigan approaching the SEC, and I forget where that originated from.
Barstool.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know if there was much substance to it because I didn't hear much past it, beyond Friday, and it seemed kind of silly at the time. Although I had to go, that would, wouldn't surprise me.
To me, though, if you start talking about Ohio State and Michigan coming in, that means that, like, the SEC goes and puts, like, South Carolina and Vanderbilt in a room and goes, hey, guys, we think you're very special.
Yeah.
But...
Or they go Sopranos style and we just never see them again.
Here, by the way, Scott Gorman, can we talk about adding Brigham Young? That's been out there before. They have to be interested as well. It's crazy how much these guys have blown up. The timing isn't great, but you can see guys start an SEC-centered show this year. Jason, appreciate your text. We cover all of college football, whatever is the story. Auburn fan in Austin, can't wait to see my Tigers in town. Let's see, War Eagle, right? And by the way, let's see, Michigan, okay, a couple more. We'll get to more of it. Also, 254-339-1122, the text line, the YouTube channel. And we continue with more SicEm365 Radio. The city of Wood.